We're the Seabees of the Navy, we can build and we can fight. We'll pave our way to victory and guard it day and night. We promise to remember the 7th of December. We're the Seabees of the Navy, bees of the 7 seas. That's the song that my grandmother sang with her father at home. And that's the song that my great-grandfather, Charles Malone Shryock Jr., sang with his buddies while they were stationed in Guam during World War II. Granddad was drafted when he was just 18 years old in 1941. Just so happens that that's the same year that the Seabees were established, and he joined them, making him one of the first ever Seabees. The Seabees are a unique organization with the purpose of supporting the Navy and the Marines. If you look here, this was his registration card, where if you look closely at his last name, it was spelled incorrectly and he wanted to fix it. I mean, who wants their last name to be spelled wrong? Richard Bennett Talcott wrote in Camp Perry that Island X, which is an alias for one of the islands that the Seabees were sent to, were endangered every single day of their lives with bombs, attacks, things that war brings. But they had one job and they successfully did it. They were to clean up the land and make it available for the Navy ships to come in so they can be repaired, refueled, and just kept in good condition. The Seabee Museum and Memorial Park stated that being a Seabee meant that you were highly skilled in some sort of trade, so that the Seabees were not only engaged in combat, but were also able to be in construction. According to my great aunt, Bernadette Barber, who is the daughter of Granddad, she recalls that the museum was not wrong. She recalls having a conversation with her father about his time in war, where he stated, "Well, I had a hammer in one hand and a rifle on my back. I'd be building something, and in the drop of the hat, if something happened, I might need to protect myself." Now, as amazing as he was for his service, and as cool as it is that he was one of the first ever Seabee, I'm not here to commemorate his service to our country, but also for the kindness that he had displayed throughout his entire life, including the time where he was an active member. Both Grandma Susan and Aunt Bernadette shared the story with me of the man behind the Japanese woman. My great-grandfather was said to be so kind. He was so kind even to the prisoners of war that he was told to guard. I was told that he was a favorite among the prisoners because he was one of the only ones that treated him humanely. Aunt Bernadette shared with me that Granddad even shared his Thanksgiving meal with at least one of the prisoners, and in return, that prisoner gifted him with this image of this beautiful woman. This image is currently still here. It's residing at my grandmother's house in very great condition. Aunt Bernadette also told me that Granddad took in several dogs on the island, making them the mascot of their group. She shared with me letters between Granddad and his mother, and some of them he even spoke about the dog. Here are some of the letters. I'm not going to read them, but I thought it'd be cool to share the Seabees letterhead, and also to show that they're dated. This one's 44 and this one's 1945. Back to the dogs though. This was war, so he did end up losing a lot of them, but he still loved them and he treated them like they were his own. He fed them food, he took care of them emotionally, physically. They loved him so much that they followed him around the entire base. After the war in 1945, Charles Malone Shryock Jr. was stationed locally from his home, where he married my great-grandmother, Charlotte. They proceeded to have 12 children within an 18-year period. Let's remember though, this was the baby boomers, so it makes sense that there were so many. Granddad retired after serving 20 years, but he still was very active with the Navy, and he was hired to be a Navy recruit, where he would go around to schools and other organizations asking people to join the Navy. My grandmother recalls being called out of school so that they could pose for a newspaper photo that a journalist was writing about Granddad's time spent in the military. This was the photo that she was referring to. There were 11 children during this time. My Aunt Bernadette, who I previously referred to, was not born yet. My Grandma Susan is the oldest living child of Granddad and shared this photo of me, which she stated was the last photo taken of all 12 children before the first death of one of her siblings, Stephen, who died in 1986. She remembers so many fond memories of family time with Granddad and all of her siblings. She recently told me of the recollection of her learning how to pray with her 11 siblings from Granddad and my great-grandmother, where they would kneel over a crucifix. She also remembers family time spent together and family dinners, and she said that Granddad would cook a grand meal every Sunday night. Granddad took care of everyone around him, showing the love and kindness that people deserve, no matter who you are. He raised his children to be loving and to be close with each other, and when his children had children, they grew to be close and love one another as well. I consider myself lucky to have known him and got to spend time with him before his death on December 3rd in 2009 when I was just 8 years old. I have fond memories of him teaching me how to garden, playing with me, teaching me to be nice to my sister. I remember in this photo bringing him to bring a grandparent to school day, and I thought I was hot shit because I was the only one with a great-grandparent still alive. My family celebrates Granddad as often as we possibly can. We try to have an annual family reunion where nearly 100 family members show up to celebrate him, to love each other, and show kindness. In just 2 years, we will be celebrating what would have been Granddad's 100th birthday. By then, Granddad will probably have even more grand and great-grandchildren, to whom we can pass his legacy of kindness down to. I'm lucky to have met 10 of the 12 children that Granddad had, and even luckier that 7 of them are still alive to share silly, loving, and wholesome stories about Granddad with their family. I'm proud to call Charles Malone Shryock Jr. my great-grandfather, and I hope that one day I will also be remembered for the love and the kindness that I have shown others.